Hello, welcome to sefiras Tafshin Pevav 2026. We are now in the week of Chesed, and just to give a little overview of what sefiras is all about and what are the sefiras. So the word sefirah has a few different meanings. It means to count, and we count 49 days. The word sefirah also has the root of sipor, to tell, like we're telling the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, writing, like sefer, and another meaning is sapir, to shine. So basically, the 10 sefiras are 10 creative energies with which Hashem created the world. So they're the way that Hashem expresses himself in the world. Each sefirah tells a different story of Hashem and how he functions in this world. The sefiras are divided into two. There's the three intellectual, Chachma, Bina, and Das, which during sefiras we're not concerned with. We're concerned with the 7 emotional attributes, the 7 midas, which are in the heart, and these are emotions which we feel. And the idea of counting is that when the sefiras split off from Hashem's light, they are distinct from one another. They are each a distinct form of energy, just like, once something's counted, it means like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, they're separate from each other. But at the same time, they are all rooted in Hashem's essence. It's just the way that Hashem's essence is splitting off in order to become revealed in the world. So the 10 sefiras really are the first stage or the first step in Hashem creating the world and in Hashem expressing himself in the world. Now, the root of shining, the sapir, means that a lot of times when we talk about sefiras as a time to work on our midas, people tend to associate that with working on our negative midas, to improve ourselves or to correct our midas. But the truth is that we all have within ourselves these beautiful, shining, radiant midas, and we just have to bring them out to the surface. We just have to learn how to express them. And this brings us to the theme of colors. The concept of associating each sefirah with a different color is sourced in Kabbalah, in a lot of Sefer Kabbalah, especially in the Sefer Shar Hagavanim, which is a section of Pardes Rimainim by Moshe Cordovero. It really goes through each sefirah and talks about the colors that are associated with it. This is all metaphorical. It's just a way to help us visualize and relate to the sefiras. Now, for each of the sefiras, there are different opinions, different versions as to which color exactly is associated with that sefirah. Some are universal, like Chesed is blue and Gvura is red. That's pretty much agreed upon in all the sources. When we get into the other sefiras, like Tiferes, Netzach, Yesod, there's some differences. I chose the ones that felt more intuitive for me. But as we go through the weeks of sefiras you'll see the connections, why Chesed is blue, why Gvura is red, and why the other sefiras are connected to different colors. Another thing that we gain from the correspondence of sefiras to colors is we can more easily understand the blending of the different sefiras, because like even the week of Chesed, each day we have Chesed, Sheva Chesed, Gvur Sheva Chesed, Tver Sheva Chesed. So each day is a combination of 2 different sefiras. So the whole concept of blending of the sefiras becomes much more intuitive when you think about it in terms of colors, because we're very familiar that colors have different shades and different tones and different blends, and it each produces a different color. The inter-inclusion of different sefiras, the blending of sefiras one with another, is part of one of the features of the world of Tikkun, because those of you who are familiar with Chassidus know that initially, when Hashem first created the world, the spheres were very, very, very intense, and each sefirah was very powerful and very dominant, and there was no interaction between them. They weren't able to contain one another. They weren't able to tolerate one another, and that's why that world shattered. That was Elam Hatayu, and the sparks of Tayu fell into the world of Tikkun, and the world of repair or correction. And our job in the world of Tikkun is to lift up the sparks of Tayu, meaning that each sefirah learns how to be able to get along with the other spirits, learns how to relate and interact with the other ones. And that's a big part of sefiras ha'omer. The work of sefiras ha'omer is that even though, we may, as an individual, I may be dominant in a certain area, I can still learn and gain and benefit from somebody else who is different from me. And we can learn to appreciate, and we learn to complement each other. And that's a big part of the work of sefiras ha'omer. So, in terms of like our personal spiritual palette, just like there are certain colors that we may be drawn towards, we may feel more comfortable in. So the same thing, certain spheres, we feel more comfortable in those areas. We feel like they're more accessible to us. One person might be more chesed type, more expressive, or more easily able to give and to share. Another person might be a more gvura, they're more self-contained, they like a lot of structure. Somebody might be very sefiras, like they can see beauty and harmony. One person might be very goal-oriented, they're very determined, they will always follow through on their commitments. That's a netzach type of person. So as we go through the weeks of spheres, you will see certain spheres that you feel like, I already shine in this area. Certain areas, maybe, they're not so expressed in you. It doesn't mean that you don't have that midah. It just means that it might take a little more effort to bring it to the surface. So that's the work of sefiras ha'omer, is both discovering in yourself the midas that already shine in you, and also finding ways to bring the other midas to the surface. And it also means being able to appreciate how other people complement you or balance you out, instead of focusing on the areas where I'm weak, the areas that I'm not so strong in. I can instead focus on the areas where I'm already strong and how I can use them to both benefit others, to uplift myself and uplift the other areas where I might not be as dominant. So another important concept of sefiras ha'omer is that it corresponds to the human body, and the human body is symmetrical. So we have a right side and a left side and a middle, and this is because we are created with Tzelem Elokim, in the image of Hashem. So Hashem created the world with these 10 sefiras, which correspond to different parts of the body. So too, our body has those aspects. So the right side corresponds to chesed, and we always lead with the right. It's always, it's always important that the giving side should be dominant. The left side is associated with gvura, with restriction, and then the middle column is the unity and the integration between the two halves. It's the two halves learning to work together and uniting with each other. So the basic division of the sefiras, the right, left, and middle. So there's the turning on, turning off, the gas pedal or the brake, or the heart pumping, the heart relaxing. This is how we learn how to function in the world, how to express ourselves in the world, but also learn, when it's time for us to take a step back, when it's time to slow down a little bit, to put the brake on. So we're going to learn as we go through the weeks of sefiras ha'omer when it's appropriate to express, when it's appropriate to silence ourselves or diminish ourselves. Now, to just go really quickly through the sefiras, which we're going to go more in depth, as the weeks go by. So chesed is the idea of expansiveness and sharing and spreading yourself out, putting yourself out there. So chesed is opening up, and gevura is the constriction and holding back. It's also about limiting yourself so you don't impose yourself on someone else. So it's learning, like when you're, let's say, writing something and you feel like, I have so much to say, I have so many ideas that I want to share, but then you hold back because you say, wait, I need to kind of limit this in order that other people should be able to get what I'm trying to say, and I shouldn't like overwhelm them. So if you're holding back for the sake of another person, that's gevura. Sefiras is finding the balance between chesed and gevura. It's, really being able to see two perspectives at the same time, how I can see the other person's need and my own need, and how they can go hand in hand. This is the midah of truth, because if we go like it's the middle path, it's the straight path, it's not to one extreme, it's not to the other extreme, it's being able to merge two perspectives together. Then we get from the upper part of the body, so that you have the right arm, the left arm, the middle. Now we go to the lower part of the body. So this is literally like doing the leg work. The leg work, in order to actually accomplish something in the world, we have to do the leg work. We have to put forth the effort to get it out there into the world. And those are the right leg and the left leg, which is netzach and haid. So netzach is determination, getting yourself, getting to the finish line, overcoming all the obstacles. And then we have haid, the left leg, which is an attitude of gratitude. It's humility, it's joy. As a giver, when you're in that zone that I have to get it out there and I'm going to overcome all obstacles, you can sometimes get a little too full of yourself. Like, this is what I want to do, this is what I need, this is what I want to say, this is what I want to do. And haid is that taking a step back and seeing the bigger picture, accepting our limitations, being grateful and happy with whatever we have. Then we have Yesod Malchus, which also go together. They go hand in hand. It's also the center of the body. We have the male organs and the female organs. And Yesod is the planting, and Malchus is the receiving, and then giving birth to the next generation. And this will be further developed as we go through the sefiras. It's important to remember that sefiras, it's not about just learning ideas, it's not about concepts, it's about emotions. It's learning how to relate to the different sefiras and being able to actually bring them out in practical ways. So since we're in the week of Chesed, I'm going to share another video later on going through the week of Chesed more in detail. But since we're now in the week of Chesed, now is a good time to think about ways to open yourself up, ways to expand yourself. In what ways have you been constricting, and how you can open that up? And in the week of sefiras, each week we're granted the power to be able to do that, to be able to express ourselves more, to be able to open up more. In the week of gevura, we have the power to work on our gevura, to set the boundaries when we need to, and so on and so forth for each of the midas. So we're going to be going into the week of chesed, talking about that expansion and how we can open up. So thank you for joining, and stay tuned.